Good evening. I'm so glad you guys were able to make it tonight. How many of you guys are familiar with raw? Good. Okay. And well, let me ask this: how many of you guys know what whole plant-based foods are? When I say whole plant-based foods, okay. I'm going to go through this evening and hopefully help define what I mean by that, because there's vegetarian, there's vegan, and there's whole plant-based foods. And they're all similar, but there's distinct differences. And so, first of all, she kind of gave a lot of, you know, in that little bio, there's a lot in there. There's a lot more that's not in there that's happened since I've been eating this way over the last couple of years. But just, I'm going to start off with sharing a little bit about my testimony here and a little bit about my family. This is my daughter and I. I'm a single mom, and this was me back in 2009, just a couple years ago, over on the left, and this is me in 2011, and there's quite a bit of weight difference there. It was a real tough time for me. I mean, I've dealt with weight issues my whole life. When I was 13, I was on a Weight Watchers diet, and I've always struggled to keep that off. And all during my 30s and 40s, I really was right around the 200 mark. Excuse me. This is what my diet was 16 years ago. This is what regularly I ate. This wasn't occasional. This was regular food. And I ate this all, you know, during my adult years up until about 15 years ago. Then I became vegetarian. And this was my diet on a regular basis. And if you notice, there's not too much difference between what I used to eat and what I switched to. Basically, what I did was I changed the name, but the same basic problem was still there, and I didn't realize. I thought I was doing great. Mind you, I quit smoking after 23 years, a pack a day. My cholesterol went down from 350, or was at 350, and blood pressure problems, and just all kinds of things. And I really didn't have a whole huge difference when I switched to this diet. In fact, up to when I was approaching 50, which I'll be 52 this June. When I was 48, 49, I was sicker than I'd ever been. I was beginning to, I mean, my immune system was gone. I was, I was losing it more and more. I was sick 5 times in 18 months with the flu. And the last 2 times were with bronchitis, and that required, you know, intervention with medication, and that was just really killing me. I was wondering, what in the world? And so this was just on the verge of a few days. The last time I got sick, I was, a few days later, after I got well, I was able to go into a 10-day in-resident program for cleansing and detoxing. And I came out of there completely free from the sugar and chocolate addiction. I came out with a whole new appreciation for real whole foods. I was excited, and that's what really turned my life around. This is what I eat now. These are the kinds of foods that I eat. Not every single thing on there is whole, but or raw, but I figure I eat about 80 to 90% on a regular basis, kind of as an average, for whole raw foods, meaning it hasn't been cooked at temperatures over 105 degrees. The whole foods, what I mean by that is, when I get the food in my hand, it's in its whole form. Like these walnuts and these dates, they're whole. I didn't buy a prepackaged anything. The only thing prepackaged that I use, you know, pretty much, is pure maple syrup and coconut oil and olive oil. And so, and because I use a lot of nuts, you know, for my fat replacement. And you know, this is really interesting, because people say, well, too many nuts is bad for you, and that's true. You can overdo anything. And so as I've gone along over the last couple of years, eating these whole foods in their whole form has basically given my body what it was really looking for, and that was, you know, it knew what to do with it, put it that way. And where before I could just keep eating and eating and eating, and it just never, I could eat 5-6 times a day, and I never was really satisfied. To be honest with you, and this is, this just kind of came naturally. I now eat 2, maximum 3 times a day, because the body is just satisfied. It knows what to do with it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And what I'm going to share with you here is the reason why these whole live plant-based foods. And I will say also that the whole foods that are cooked, I can eat more of those. So I really have to concentrate on eating more live foods in their live state. And this is what I mean by live foods, biophotons. This is a science of biophotons. And basically what it is it's low-level light waves in each one of the cells of anything living. Basically, you know, everything. If they have a particular camera now that they can take pictures, they've had it since, well, at least the last 20 or 30 years, where they could take pictures of everything that's live. An orange, an apple, a leaf, you know, anything that's living. And everything living has light emitting from the live cells. And that's what that is. These are the discoverers of this technology way back in 1923. The original guy who touched on it was Alexander Gertschwitz. And then in the 1970s, the German scientist Fritz Albert Popp, he really picked it up. And he was the one that actually discovered the meter that he was able to put together, the meter to what I want to say, measure these light waves. And they've also, like I said, the camera technology to be able to capture it so you could see it. And that's what I just got done saying right here. Here you have on the left-hand side, you can't see it at the bottom there, it's kind of washed out, but you have a organic mushroom on the left. On the right is a conventional mushroom. There's a lot more biophotons coming from the organic than there is from the conventional, but there still is light coming from the conventional. This is cooked cabbage on your left, and on the right it's live uncooked cabbage. In other words, it's been cooked at temperatures over 105. This is typically how we cook our cabbage. And you notice there's absolutely no light in it. That means there's no enzymes in it. There's no life in it. It's basically dead. This is a raw carrot on the right, and one on the left that is the slightly steamed carrot. You notice we can slightly steam something and it still has light in it. But if you cook that carrot past that slightly steaming, you're going to end up like the cooked cabbage. Over, let's see, we have on here the raw tomato on the left, and on the right you can see the slightly diminishing light there is the slightly steamed, or barely cooked tomato. Can you guys tell which one's the cooked and which one's the? Yeah, this one on the right is slightly steamed. It's got that bright color, but it's still got light in it. So that's where I'm going to stop right there. Really, and I know it sounds kind of extreme, but it's true. Live food equals live bodies. Dead food equals dead bodies. When you're sick, your light. If they were to take a picture of your body when you're sick, they'll find less light in you than when you're well. And so when you're sick, you want to especially eat more live raw foods to replace that life to help you get better. That's what's happened to me over the last couple of years. That's the reason why my blood pressure is down, my cholesterol's normal, my lifelong asthma that I had all my life. I was allergic to Cats. I couldn't be in a room with a cat for 10 minutes. I got my friend over here, my new friend. I went to her house for 6 days this January to help her and her family learn how to incorporate these foods. And I'll let her tell you just real quickly. I asked her permission on this, but she has 2 cats. I stayed in there for 6 days. No problem.
Wow.
So this really, all of your problems can, start to turn around when the food and the life gets in there. Tell us what happened with you during the 6 days. It's pretty dramatic. Yeah, come on up. They got all dressed up. This is their date night for Valentine's.
We have 5 kids and never go out, so this is doing
Yay!
raw food thing. But my name's Judith, and in January I had won Chef Terri. She had a drawing out, and she had asked, was giving away a week, going into somebody's house, and I had filled out and entered to win, and we won. And so really by God's grace, Terri came to our house in January, and at that time we had I was a junk food vegetarian, and I had been for about 12 years, because I didn't know any better. I was just doing the best that I could, and we had a totally divided house where the kids ate all this processed garbage food, and then I would cook dinner for John and I, so we had 2 dinners every night, and it was just a mess. I mean, I was like 20 pounds heavier. Since Terri's been there, I don't eat any sugar, no caffeine, no cigarettes. I drink
pain meds?
Oh gosh, and then I was on, I have bone disease, and I was on pretty high level of hydrocodone, and that was...
She gave them to me in my hand. She said, Terri, would you help me? We had a ceremony flushing them down the toilet.
So we flushed them, but even after Terri left, I didn't know what to do, and so Terri came in, and then it taught me how to shop, like exactly what to do. And in the long run, I thought it would be so much more expensive to buy raw foods, but I save. It's amazing how much money I save now that I'm not buying all the processed stuff that my body doesn't need, and so it's just really exciting. And then also my husband, who's had high blood pressure for 10 years, had to take medication. He's totally off of it. The other night,
very good.
121 over 80, and that's no medication, that's just diet. So, if it wouldn't have been,
And your kids?
Oh, the kids, now that was all out warfare, and one still hates me. He's 15 and eats at his girlfriend's every night. But the younger one, Aaron, he'll taste food behind my back, because, he was just a pizza french fry kind of guy. And so now he's tasting things. He's actually eating some things, he was raised on white 99-cent bread, and now he's eating Dave's, and there's no more refined sugars, and now he uses maple syrup. And so it's slowly, and then the nights when he won't eat, in our house, the alternative is peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So it's kind of I'm the mom now, it's
yes,
it's awesome. But I wouldn't have had the courage if you didn't come, and it really I'm so excited. Every day I get to be in the kitchen, and I get to make raw foods, and it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
It's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Is that January this year or last year?
This was January.
You're kidding. You lost 20 pounds.
I did.
You look wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes. So miracles can happen when we eat whole, God-given food the way that it originally comes. So we're going to make some fun food here. And desserts. I am going to use a lot of nuts tonight. Now, one of the things that you'll notice as you eat this kind of food is you won't eat as much as you're accustomed to eating. Your body just will not accept it. You'll eat a little bit, you'll be satisfied. The sample sizes I'm going to give you guys tonight are typical portion size for a full-on out, but when you look at it, it's your body is satisfied with it. So there's no more, I was talking to somebody about, being they were saying, be careful, about, yes, I wouldn't eat this morning, noon, and night, but I don't want to because the food in variety is just so delicious. And anyway, so we're going to start off with the, brownie. This is the candied walnut coconut brownie. And so first, what are we going to put in?
2.5 cups of walnuts.
Okay, we got our walnuts.
2 cups of pitted and chopped dates.
Okay, well, I didn't chop them, but actually, I tell you what, because you've got the recipe. What we do is we want to turn this into a little bit of a flour consistency, and then we'll add the dates so that we don't have big chunks of walnuts. This is not my blender, and I've used it once. Okay. Okay. All right, now we're going to put in the dates.
Yep, 2 cups.
2 cups of dates. Yeah?
3 tablespoons of maple syrup.
Okay. Pure maple syrup. This is as close to as its whole plant-based that you're going to get. It has been heated from what I understand, because that's what they have to do to break it, to bring it down to an edible. But this is pure maple syrup, as in this kind that you'll find out there on the shelves. Okay?
3 tablespoons of coconut oil.
Okay. So what I did with the coconut oil, I had to melt it down gently because the let's see, where are my spoons? Because it's solid, and I mean it kind of stays solid in the winter time. Okay, 3 tablespoons. Two, 3. Okay.
Seeds from 1 vanilla bean.
Okay. You can use vanilla extract if you like, but again, this is a whole form of vanilla with no added alcohol and those other things that they put in it to take up, the space. And so it's a little more expensive, but it also goes a little bit further also. And I'll show you how I make it go even further. What I did was I sliced the first layer open with the knife and tried not to go through to the other side. And I guess, can you see me? Yes. All right, I'm going to scrape with the edge of a butter knife the seeds out. And these are the seeds. And there's more in here, so I'm going to try to scrape as much out as possible. And then what we're going to do, what I do at home, is I take this bean and I roll it up and I put it into a little jar, one of those little, condiment jars that you have left over. Put it down in there and cover it with water. And every time I use a new bean, I put it on top. And then I'll use that liquid when I want to add more, or if I don't have a bean to use, then I'll use that, or whatever, as a kind of extra. Anyway, so I don't throw these away, and then periodically I'll go to the bottom and I'll pull those out and throw them away, and then keep adding to it. Okay.
1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay, so the salt that I use is it's a really important part of my blood pressure, and is Celtic sea salt, although I refilled this with the salt that they have out there, the mineral salt. It's got the little bit of color in it. The thing is that even if it's called sea salt is if it's white, it's devoid of all of its natural minerals. And so the body, again, doesn't know what to do with that, and it wreaks havoc in the body. So when you eat whole, real salt, you'll find less problems just naturally, just by default. Okay?
2 to 3 tablespoons of toasted carob powder.
All right. You can use chocolate if you like. I'm using carob. One of the reasons why I got off my antidepressants was because I got off of caffeine. 5 years of antidepressants. And I got off of all of caffeine, And even when I ate chocolate, it would start to build up again, and it would just catch me by surprise. So I went to carob. Now the trick to using carob is using toasted carob. It's not raw, but it has a much better flavor to it in your foods. You're going to notice that. John, how did the carob sauce taste to you?
No, it tastes like chocolate sauce.
Tastes like chocolate sauce, he said. And that's the comments that I've gotten back. The combination of the toasted carob and the coconut oil, the coconut oil is a must to add to that, because it really, it just takes away that carob taste, and it tastes like chocolate.
Do you buy carob toasted already, or do you?
They have it out there on the shelf in Bob's Red Mill.
There's no caffeine in carob?
There is no caffeine in carob. It's naturally caffeine free. It doesn't have the theobromine in it. And so, yeah, and plus you can be satisfied with a little bit of carob, where chocolate, you know how it just keeps calling your name. And with this, you don't have that. You get the total satisfaction without it.
What about cacao?
That is the cacao.
Cacao.
That's a raw chocolate, and it's got much higher level caffeine than even the regular chocolate does. It's kind of the espresso level of chocolate.
But if you, I mean, people still use it, I mean, but you're saying with the depression, is that?
With my depression, if you've got depression, anxiety, you know, anything going on like that, get off the caffeine, and you'll probably see that just totally settle out. High blood pressure too. Now we're going to blend this up. All right.
You didn't put the coconut in yet, right?
No, the coconut's going on top.
Coconut oil.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the coconut. You're talking about the coconut or the coconut oil?
No, the dried coconut.
No, I'm putting that on top. All right. Now what I've got is, I've got a springform pan, but you can use this in any pan that you've got. I happen to put a false bottom on it, so then that way, I get these at the grocery store. They're great. They sell them for like cheap to me in the, whatever you call it, the bakery there. So I put that on. But you can totally put it in any pan that you want. Okay. All right, so now what you're going to do is just press this down into your pan. You know what, if I want something quick for breakfast, and you know, you're going to, having some nuts and some dates for breakfast is totally like part of a good, if I might have a smoothie and some dates and walnuts, and by the way, walnuts are very, very good for the brain. So having a handful of those is, you know, a small handful is really good. So I might just throw this all together in the blender and press it out and just kind of enjoy it this way. So now I'm going to leave that for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to make the carob sauce. And we're going to start with
A cup of maple syrup.
all right, I'm going to make a double portion of this because we're going to use it for a couple different things. That was 2 cups, so now we're going to, yeah, here. Now I'm going to put,
2 cups of coconut.
yes, 2 cups of coconut. I'm going to put that in a second. Carob. The carob has got,
A cup of half raw carob powder.
yeah, so this has got a cup in here. I'm going to put just a little bit less here, and then I may add it back. I may add the rest in. Some salt, and the coconut oil, we're going to need 2 cups of that. And I've used up, oh, here we go. I'm not going to put quite 2 cups in, or, you know, because I want this a little bit runny for one recipe and a little bit thick on the next recipe. The more coconut oil, 50-50 coconut oil, will make it more of like a fudge sauce. And a little less of that will give you kind of, I say fudge sauce, I mean like a fudgy, this one's going to give me more of a combination of that and fudge sauce, if that made sense.
Seeds of one vanilla bean.
Yes, that's right. Okay. So I've done the same thing with the vanilla bean. I think you guys can see me here. Pull those seeds out of there. Okay.
It's been so long since I've used vanilla bean. Is the bean soft or is it hard?
It's very soft. It should be soft. If it's not soft, they have to kind of, that's the reason why it comes in these containers, to keep them moist. And so if it's hard, it's probably, and they do, some places will sell it in bulk, and you might not, you know, you can tell that it's good if it's soft, kind of moist. All right, and I'm just, what I've learned with this carob sauce is, you know, it can be temperamental. If you, number one, I think what I've narrowed it down to is the carob sauce gets too hot, I mean the coconut gets too hot, and so you really want to kind of have it cooled down, melted, and then not to mix it too terribly much, because what happens, and it happened to Judith and I, is the coconut oil and the other, it just totally separated. So be careful not to.
And there's maple syrup in there too?
There is maple syrup, yeah. It didn't totally separate, but a big portion of it did, and it wasn't nice. So you can see here on the camera that it's hopefully that it's thickening up. Yeah, it's getting kind of thick, and when it gets cold, it's going to get really nice. So you can actually make some, if you've got enough coconut oil in there, you can make some candies out of that.
Oh, because it gets hard like it would be in the jar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So we're going to put some carob on here. Just kind of a little bit more. Spread that over, and then you can use, I really like to use fresh coconut. I apologize, I was going to get one tonight, but wasn't able to. So, but this works really, really good where you can, they have it out in the bulk section out there. They have the really fine and they have the really bigger flakes. Personally, I like the bigger flakes. They're more fun to eat, but you can do whatever works for you. And I'll just kind of break them just a little bit so they're not super huge, and make a coconut layer. We'll go ahead and put all of this in here. Kind of press that down into that carob a little bit. Now we're going to make a candied walnut. And the way that I did this was I just take the walnuts. Okay, very good. You can take as many, you can really eyeball this really easily. You don't really need the recipe. Just put your walnuts in there, put enough pure maple syrup in there to coat it, and then put, let's see, I guess I forgot the salt here. So just sprinkle the salt over, and these are going to be a salty sweet, so add just a little bit extra. And just mix these up. And then what I'll do is I'll put them in my dehydrator. Hopefully you've got one. If you don't, you can go ahead and put it in the oven at the low temperature. The lowest temperature won't get down to keep it, you know, raw, but that's okay. And this is this is how they came out. They're really nice and oh, they're so yummy. You can't make too many of these or you're going to be sitting there eating them all the time because they're just like eating pieces of candy. Right? All right, so what we're going to do is let's put this on here.
Check on the blender right now.
I'm just going to take these and cut these up. You guys can see me, right? Yes. Yep. Okay. All right. Just give a rough chop to these to kind of break them up and sprinkle them on the top there. Want a few more here. What's fun is that when you dehydrate this on the sheet, if you dehydrate it long enough, these things become crystallized. They make nice decorations on there too. I didn't have it in there long enough to get those. They look like sheets of candy. Yeah, very thin sheets, you know, of it. Yes.
How long do you leave it in the oven if you don't have a dehydrator?
Until they're dried out, pretty much, yeah. And if they're not 100% dried, it's okay. These are not 100% dried out. And then what I'll do is I'll put those in a container and I'll use I'll make extra and put those on your salad or, you know, whatever as an extra topping. Excalibur is a really good dehydrator if you're looking for a good brand. They've been around for a long time and they're like the top of the line for as far as dehydrators go. Now what we're going to do is drizzle some of the carob sauce on top. This is getting a little bit thick and I kind of want it a little bit more drizzly, but this will work. Oh, it tastes just as good. May have to make some more for the other surprise we're going to have. Okay, and then you stick this in the freezer. It lasts a long time in the freezer. You just got, you know, and you can cut it straight from the freezer, totally frozen, because the dates and the walnuts just kind of stay. If you have a, you know, you have no problem doing that. And then the magic of TV. There's your brownie. So, what did you find out? Oh, good. Okay, go ahead and set it right. Let's put that right there.
It's big stuff.
Yeah.
Which of these do you not need so I can unplug?
I don't need the big one. I don't need the food processor anymore. All right. All right. I'm going to do the cinnamon roll. Ooh, one of the things I need is my, apologize. Commercial break, I'll be right back. All right. Gotta get some plastic wrap. All right, now we're gonna make a cinnamon roll. Now, the reason why I picked the cinnamon roll, I thought you guys might enjoy making this tomorrow morning for your sweetheart. It's so easy, and it makes a great breakfast addition to your breakfast. And so make this first, and then make your brownie. And then the third thing, that you have a morning and a noon and a night dessert. You can figure out however you want to serve it. All right, so first we're going to do...
We're going to work on the dough.
Oh, you know what? The dough, yes, I do need this. All right, so
We'll talk about this one then.
the dough is, hang on, I can probably use the little one.
Okay.
Let's use the little one, yeah. Now what I do with this is I will double it or triple it, you know, depending on the size that I'm... This is going to make a small cinnamon roll, but totally enough for 2 people, 3 people, whatever, one morning. Yeah, I think so. Yes, okay.
Okay, so for the dough, a cup of almonds or pecans.
Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to blend this down to a powder. Do we have it plugged in there? It can't be plugged in underneath. It's got to be plugged into this. Yes, that. Yeah, that.
Yeah, this isn't on the on here yet. You've used it, right?
Yes, I did. I used it a while ago. Pull this around.
Plugged in. Completely. Let me try a different plug in just for the heck of it. Okay,
This
try
is
it
the
again.
deal with live.
Good.
No. All right, we're going to do it in there. It's okay because I've used the same ingredients in there basically for...
All right, so let me plug this in.
All right. No. Okay. Next.
A half a cup of flaxseed.
The flaxseed, I like to grind this fresh. I don't buy ground flaxseed because it can go rancid. If you do have ground, put it in the freezer. It'll stay longer. But I ground this fresh in my coffee grinder, my ex-coffee grinder. And so a half cup. And you can use blonde or the brown. This happens to be the brown, and that's what I had. I apologize. I would prefer to use blonde in this recipe because it gives a nicer look to it, but that's all.
And a quarter cup of honey or pure maple syrup.
All right, first we're going to blend this down to a flour. Okay, we'll pulse it a little bit more. All right, then what did we need?
Quarter cup of honey or pure maple syrup.
Let's see, what did I do with my, here it is. No, that's got carob on it. Here's one with maple syrup on it.
Here's one.
This has got maple syrup, so it's okay.
So are you using maple syrup or honey?
I'm using maple syrup. You can use honey. All right.
And that's it. Mix in processor, roll out.
Okay, now you can use wax paper to roll this out on. This just happens to be a nonstick sheet that I use for baking. And so I really don't know where you get them, but either one works. That works real good. Is the this one again? Is the wax paper. Okay. Put that lid back on here. All right, and then what we're going to do is just form a ball on this, kind of get it started. And your roller, you can put another piece of non-stick. Oh, why is that sticking? Non-stick on top and roll it so it rolls out clean. Let's see if we can kind of getting it started here. I like to have my almonds really fine on this, and this didn't get it real nice and fine. So take that down a little bit more, and you'll find it'll be easier. Okay, now we're going to do the filling. You can get real particular about it, and I do when I'm by myself. I will, I have a nice big one, and I get it all nice and square, and roll it up and whatever. But okay, so for the
filling, you're going to start with a half a cup of dates.
Really? Okay, I guess I forgot the dates on this one. Okay. Half of a cup of dates. You want to make sure that these dates are not are pitted, because
I've done that by Vitamix.
they don't. The Vitamix doesn't like that for some reason, and neither do your teeth. Just kind of squish them there, and all right.
Quarter cup of water.
A quarter cup of water. Okay. So would you get me a quarter cup of water over there, or just a little bit? Just no, yeah. No. Fill up one of those little things there.
Quarter cup.
Yep, I do. I'll just go like this. All right, quarter cup of water.
2 tablespoons of cinnamon.
2 tablespoons of cinnamon.
Tablespoon of coconut oil.
Okay.
A quarter teaspoon of salt.
Quarter teaspoon of the salt.
2 tablespoons of raisins, which is optional.
Your raisins.
And 2 tablespoons of chopped pecans or walnuts.
I didn't put that in there. You can put it in if you like.
And of course,
It's not plugged in this time.
the other one. Oh my goodness.
have, like mine has, it has a speed control. This has low and high, and low is very high. So I'm not going to be able to mix it better than this, but it'll work. I already have one prepared, so this is not what you're eating. But you'll get the idea. It's, yeah, exactly. I'll make sure that everybody gets some. And then what you're going to do is just spread that in there. Okay. That, I'm going to need to have somebody clean that. Okay?
Right now? You want me to do it?
That would be great. I will work on this.
Okay.
So if you do it in the Vitamix, do you do it on low for a reason, or you just?
Yes, because it'll slowly, and you can slowly move it up, and it'll get it nice and blended real well. And I guess that's another reason why I'll make a double batch unless you've got, you know, a smaller appliance that can handle a smaller amount and get it nice and smooth in there. But even if it's not smooth, it's okay because it still tastes good, I'll guarantee you. All right. All right, now what we're going to do is roll this up. Kind of use the paper that the non-stick paper that you've got and just kind of move it.
So wax paper would do the same thing? Just,
Yes, it will.
Roll it.
Yes, it will. Yes.
What kind of a paper thing are you using there?
This is a non-stick bake sheet that I have. I wish I could tell you where to get it. I just,
Go wax paper.
they have them at Macy's? They have them at Macy's.
Yeah, with the kitchen connection.
There you go. Kitchen Connection, Macy's. Oh, QVC has it. All right, there's your roll. And then what we'll do is we'll put this in the refrigerator or the freezer to set up. And I'm going to put it down there. Actually, what I'll do, go ahead and show you. I'll wrap this in plastic before I put it away. And then,
Is that what you usually do? Put it in plastic there?
there's your roll. And here's the roll that I made that you guys are going to be able to eat. And I've already got it cut up, some of it cut up. My knife. What did I do with my knife? There we go. And this came from the freezer just a few minutes ago, so again, you can put this in the freezer and it will slice very, very nicely. There you go. All right. All right, let's move on. Let's see, she's gone to clean the blender for me that I'm going to need here. So, you guys want to talk about anything? You have any questions? Uh-huh.
Where did you go for your 10-day detox?
Down in California at Danny Vieira's. Danny Vieira. I actually do those 10 days for people now. So if you're ever interested in that, you can let me know. so you don't have to go all the way down to California, although that's a good excuse to go down there.
Well, tell us about it. What part of California?
Oh, it was awesome. What I do is basically the first 5 days is a juice fast. We're doing, which causes the body to let go of all the built-up toxins that are throughout the body. We're also doing, we're assisting the colon in with some charcoal, bentonite clay type herb and some herbs to help absorb, and then we're doing some other treatments to get that out every day, out of the system. We're working on cleansing the liver, the gallbladder. We're working on a parasite cleanse. Yeah, everybody's got parasites. You wouldn't believe. We're doing hydrotherapy. We're doing massage therapy. Everything that assists your entire body, all your eliminating organs, your skin, your liver, your colon, your blood, your lungs, the kidneys, to all, start. And what you're doing is you're learning how to do this, because this is not the be-all, end-all. You don't give yourself a 10-day cleanse and then, after years of getting to where you're at, and then it's all done. But that's where you learn. And then for the next 5 days, what we're learning is how to do this kind of thing and really carry on with whole plant-based foods, mostly raw. And so for the next 5 days, we're building your body back up. And just to give you an idea, my sister saw my picture on Facebook that I posted about a month after I did my cleanse. And it was a picture somebody else had taken of me, so I used it for my profile. She says, she asked me if that was before or after I did my cleanse, because she was up here in Portland and I was down in California. And I said, after, why? And she said, because you're glowing. And I didn't know what she meant. And now I've seen other people, I've seen that glow on the skin, that it's just phenomenal. So, all right, now we're going to do a cream cheese for the cinnamon rolls, and that calls for
1 cup of cashews, dry. 1/4 cup of coconut oil.
1/4 cup. Let's see, here we go again. If I measured out the coconut oil, pre-measured it out, it would have gotten stiff, so I had to. Yep.
Tablespoon of fresh lemon juice.
All right. Tablespoon of fresh lemon juice.
4 to 6 tablespoons of liquid, either water or coconut water.
I'm going to use coconut water here. And what else?
And 1/2 to 1 tablespoon of pure maple syrup, which is optional.
Okay.
And a pinch of salt.
Okay. And 4 to 6 tablespoons of liquid.
What's the benefit of coconut water?
It's just coconut water. Just from a young coconut.
She said, what's the benefit?
Oh, what's the benefit? Oh, wonder if your electrolytes, if you ever want to balance your electrolytes, don't go for the Gatorade. Go for coconut water. Actually, coconut water is, my understanding, back in the war, back in World War I, II, whatever it was, they used coconut water from the coconuts for blood transfusions, because the blood and the coconut water are so similar. High potassium, if you're trying to increase your potassium levels, yeah, there's a lot more benefit to it, but if you research that, you'll find that. Okay? Just blend this up. Okay, what you want is a smooth consistency, and it looks pretty smooth. I'm going to go just a little bit longer. Okay. Yummo. This is my opinion. All right, so now let's find out. We can put this back in here. Hold on to that because I'm going to use that in a second. Basically the same, similar ingredients.
Can I ask you a question on your cashews when you put them in the Vitamix?
Yes.
It says in the recipe that cup cashews dry
Yeah.
versus soaking them overnight or
Right.
so many hours.
Right. If you soak them, this is going to be kind of a rubbery consistency. So if you soak them, that's a good thing, but then dehydrate them.
Oh, okay.
So do you do that then? Do you make a point to soak your nuts and your grains?
No, honestly, I don't, because it doesn't bother me. If it bothered my, my digestive system, I would. And honestly, that's probably something that I should do because it really is. It breaks down that digestive enzymes or preventative. The nuts have enzyme inhibitor, thank you, that you'll break down after soaking it. All right. Okay, so if you want to, while I'm doing this, you can go ahead and start serving these. And yeah, no, all on the plate here. You're gonna put this on each one of them, a little dollop of it, and then here you go.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to make a cream cheese as a Z, cream cheese cake. We're actually going to do cream cheese filled strawberries. And the container basically has the same ingredients, so I'm going to go ahead and reuse that. I've got 3 cups of cashews. Put this. These cashews are not soaked either. And let's see my recipe. Make sure we got. All right, then 3/4 cup lemon juice.
No. Yeah.
What? It scared me.
Oh, where are we looking?
The cheesecake.
On the cheesecake strawberries.
I'm looking at the cream cheese frosting.
Yeah. Where the cheese is.
3/4 cup pure maple syrup. And 3/4 cup pure maple, the coconut oil. And tablespoon of vanilla, so we're going to use another vanilla bean. One of these vanilla beans actually equals a tablespoon of vanilla, but even if it calls for a teaspoon, sometimes I use the whole thing, so because I like vanilla. Oh, this one's going to be difficult. Maybe because of the knife that I'm using. It's got more of a pointed knife, so I'm going to go to the butter knife, which makes it easier. Much better. Now you don't have to use, if you want more of a, if you want to experiment with different liquids, you can use orange. Actually, I use lime in this. Okay, so it says lemon, this is lime. Huh? The truth came out, yeah. It's interesting, when you go down to another country, they call everything, they call the lime a lemon down there also. Everything is lime. Yeah. Want this really, really smooth. That's the reason why you go and you want to test it and see, because cheesecake is smooth. And by the way, this is not going to be just like cheesecake. It's got a smooth, and it's wonderful, but it's the closest you're going to get to cheesecake. As a vegan, raw, I put in just a little over a quarter teaspoon for this amount. Now, I've got, let's see, where is it? Oh.
The recipe here says use up to a quarter cup of water if necessary. But
If necessary. I didn't even put any in.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't need it. The more thick you've got it, the better.
Oh, okay.
And so now what we're going to do is fill up the strawberries, cut the top off, but save it, and then cut out the white part here. It doesn't have to be real deep, and cut off the bottom. And I like to use these bottoms that I won't use in a smoothie. Put them back in the freezer and use it for a smoothie. And this refrigerator set this up too much. Well, I'm not going to get it out of there, but let me show you what it looks like. And I get these little, the bags with the little tips at Michael's. And this makes a great dessert for Valentine's, or you can impress anybody with these. It makes a great wedding dish. And low calorie too, because of the strawberries. You don't have a ton of cheesecake in there. So I just put the tops back on. I kind of fill it up over the top and put those little tops back on. And she's going to serve these up for you guys with a little bit of carob drizzle, which I'm going to have to make a little bit more of because that's too thick. And I'll show you here. I'll leave you that. Tell me if that's not enough. There's more down here. So, all right, so we're going to take a pure maple syrup. Where did it go? That carob sauce.
Oh, it's
Oh, okay. I want you guys to see what I mean. This is like, it's not even in the refrigerator, and it's, so by the time it gets in the refrigerator, it's going to be, so you can take this, and just to give you an idea, you can put it in, line your little cupcake pan with some saran wrap, and push it down in there. Take a little bit of that, put it at the bottom, take a dollop of peanut butter or almond butter, put that in there, put some more carob on the top, put it in the freezer. Chocolate peanut butter cup. They turned out really, really good when I got it figured out.
And that was the coconut carob fudge sauce? Yeah, that we're talking
Yes,
about. Okay,
yes,
so
that
do it.
fudge sauce right there is what you would use. This one here is more of a drizzle that I'm going to make that you can use on ice cream or whatever. We're just going to do,
About how much are you adding?
I am doing the same recipe, but I'm doing with the maple syrup, whatever you put in there, and I put in here about a half cup. Now I'm going to put in not even a quarter cup of the maybe a half cup. Excuse me, a quarter cup of the oil, because if you put it what do I want to say? If you take a cup of the pure maple and you take a cup of this, you're going to end up with the fudge like that, the candy fudge. Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to put in.
So do you think you have about half of the recipe there?
Yes.
A little less?
Yeah, yeah. But the coconut oil is a half of the coconut oil that you would put in the fudge recipe. And then we're going to take a pinch of salt. And my carob. This is the toasted carob.
Raw carob powder, but it's the toasted.
Did I say that there? I apologize. No, it's not raw.
Okay, it's the toasted.
It's the toasted.
Is it?
It does. Yeah, I have people. Yes.
In the brownies, it was the toasted, and in the fudge sauce,
It's all toasted.
all toasted.
All toasted. Yeah. My tablespoon is messed up here with coconut oil, so I'm going to do 3 heaping teaspoons is what I've got. I'll start off with that. And
Now, would you put vanilla in this too if you wanted, or you could?
you don't even have to put vanilla in here. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't.
Okay, good to know. So this will just be a thinner sauce.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to get it to the point where there's not too much of the coconut. It's a real smooth sauce. Sometimes, like I said, it can be temperamental, and you don't want to push the mixing too far because, like I said, then you'll run into problems. Okay, now let me give this to her. Here's your.
Just put a little drop on each one.
What?
On each, next to the strawberries.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, just. Yeah. put enough on the plate so that they can taste it there, but not drown the strawberry. Okay, now what I did with the cheesecake, what I'm going to do with this cheesecake here is make an actual cake. I went ahead and put one together so that you could see, so I'm just going to have to describe it to you as far as the crust. The crust is the same idea as your cinnamon roll. Yes, with your nuts and your dates and your salt and a little bit of coconut oil. So what I did was I put basically a cup of almonds in here, about a half cup of walnuts, a pinch of salt, a little more than a pinch of salt, and 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And let's see, and then I put in about a half to 3/4 cup dates. I blended down those nuts to the flour consistency as much as you can, and then put the dates and everything else in there. And I pressed this down in the bottom of my pan. Now I've got a crust. And I'm going to have to find another spatula. There we go.
So you did put a cup of almonds and half a cup of walnuts to make the crust a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then that salt oil and dates. Very good.
Yes.
And just use that cheesecake filling that you put in the strawberries as the filling.
Yes. When you go to fill your strawberries, by the way, you need to have that cheesecake set up in the refrigerator so that it will not be runny in your bag and run all over. And
Not too cold that it doesn't come out of the bag, so kind of a happy medium. Yeah.
yes, most of the time mine gets too set up, so I have to wait for a little while to get, not too much, yeah.
I see.
More strawberries, you said?
Yes, right down here. Another yummy nut that you can use in here, it's a little more expensive, but it's really good, is macadamia.
Oh, that would be for the crust.
For the crust. Oh, well, actually, even for the filling, if you want.
Oh, really? Cashew, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but absolutely for the crust too. The crust is wonderful.
Would you put the almonds and the walnuts in, or just the macadamia? And you just forget the almonds and walnuts if you did it for the
Oh,
crust?
right. Macadamia, yeah. But I was talking more when I was bringing it up in the cheesecake,
Okay.
rather than or even a 50-50.
Oh.
So you can play with that. So there's your cheesecake, and then you're going to put that in the freezer and set that up really nice, and then I'll decorate that with, I'll take some strawberry, any kind of berries, mix them with, say, a cup of berries to a quarter to a half cup of dates in the blender, and you make a nice sauce to put on there. Oh my God. So, yeah. Okay, she's finishing up here, and as soon as she's done, you guys can all file up there and get yourself a plate. So, what else do we want to talk about? Anything?
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.